Welcome to A Slice with Dice, where we explore the real-life experiences of school leadership. I'm Corey Alderdice, Executive Director of the Arkansas School for Mathematics, Sciences, and the Arts. I'm a seasoned school administrator of specialized programs and will share personal reflections, lessons learned, and insights from the ever-evolving world of education. Whether you're a teacher, leader, parent, or simply passionate about schools, join me as we dive into the challenges and triumphs of guiding schools and shaping our communities. Here's this week's thought. We're tackling a topic that's been at the center of educational debates for decades: giftedness. Specifically, we're going to explore Joseph Renzulli's three-ring conception of giftedness, which is one of my favorite frameworks for understanding this special population of students. Now, Renzulli's three-ring model of giftedness, first developed in the 1970s, proposes that giftedness is the intersection of three critical traits: above-average ability, creativity, and task commitment. Above-average ability refers to intellectual capabilities or talents in specific areas. Creativity is the ability to think outside of the box, generate original ideas, and approach problems in innovative ways. And task commitment is the drive, perseverance, and determination to see a project through to completion even when faced with challenges. Renzulli's model highlights that true giftedness isn't just about natural talent or intelligence. It's actually the combination of these three traits that leads to gifted behavior. Now, true giftedness is found in the space where the three rings overlap. When we think of gifted students, our minds often jump to the idea of natural-born talent or a high IQ. And while these elements are certainly part of the equation, Renzulli's framework challenges us to think beyond these traditional markers. He asks us to consider giftedness not as a fixed trait, but as a dynamic and multifaceted concept. It's to that point that I want to explore what I believe is actually the most critical element of the three traits: task commitment. Okay, so what exactly is task commitment? In Renzulli's model, once again, task commitment refers to a student's motivation, perseverance, and determination to see a project or goal through to completion. It's the drive to stay focused, work hard, and push through challenges. Task commitment is not about fleeting interest, it's about sustained effort and the resilience to keep going, even when the going gets tough. Unlike above-average ability, which is often measured through standardized tests, or creativity, which can be seen in innovative thinking, task commitment is a bit harder to quantify, but its impact is profound. It's what separates a good idea from a great achievement. It's the difference between a student who has potential and a student who realizes that potential. And this brings me to an interesting point. Task commitment is not something that only inherently gifted students possess. It can be nurtured and developed in all students, and both educators and parents play a crucial role in this process. One way to foster task commitment is by creating an environment that encourages perseverance. This means allowing students to experience failure and helping them to understand that setbacks are a natural part of learning. It's about teaching them that the effort is just as important, if not more so, than innate ability. Another strategy is to connect learning to students' personal interests. When students are passionate about a topic, they're more likely to invest the time and energy needed to overcome obstacles. Task commitment flourishes when students see value in their work and feel a sense of ownership over their learning. Now, let's not forget the other two rings in Renzulli's model: above average ability and creativity. And while our focus today is on task commitment, it's essential to recognize that all three components interact with and influence each other. Above average ability provides the foundation, creativity fuels innovation, and task commitment drives the application and refinement of these talents. However, without task commitment, even the brightest students may fail to achieve their full potential. It's the glue that holds the other components together, ensuring that gifted behaviors manifest in both meaningful and sustained ways. Now, we must also consider the systems and structures that can either support or hinder the development of task commitment in our students. Are we creating educational environments that allow students to struggle and learn from failure? Do we emphasize the importance of effort and persistence, or do we inadvertently send the message that only quick success is valued? These are critical questions that educators and parents alike need to grapple with. It's essential to recognize that task commitment, like any other skill, requires practice. It's not just enough to tell students to work hard. We must teach them how to stay motivated, manage their time, and cope with setbacks. This might involve setting incremental goals, celebrating small victories, and providing constructive feedback that focuses not just on the outcome, but on the effort and process that led there. When students arrive at ASMSA, they are, of course, bright and talented. However, many have been passive learners to date. That's to say, they haven't really had to actively engage, develop study skills, and even ask for help in their academic pursuits. In short, school has been easy for them, and they've mostly floated along on the strengths of their above-average abilities, as well as what are often creative shortcuts in their learning. The need to become a more active learner hinges on the ability to see things through. We used to experience a lot of students who would choose to depart during the first break at Labor Day weekend because they were coming to the realization that the old skill sets they relied upon were no longer going to be sufficient. What we realized as an institution was that we would need to develop, implement, and refine systems of support that could help students understand the challenges they were taking on and how to persevere. As the saying goes, the only way to raise a kite is into the wind. As we near the end of the semester, a time at which the rigors of learning increase and we're often more formally intervening to support young people, I encourage educators, parents, and students to reflect on the role that task commitment has in their lives. How can we cultivate this essential trait in our schools and our homes? How can we ensure that students are not only recognized for their abilities, but also for their dedication and perseverance? Joseph Renzulli's 3-ring model reminds us that giftedness is more than just being smart or creative. It's about having the tenacity to see things through. It's about the willingness to work hard even when the initial excitement has worn off, and the project becomes a test of endurance. In the end, the 3-ring model of giftedness is not just a framework for identifying talent. It's a call to action. It challenges us to look beyond traditional measures of success and to cultivate a more holistic approach to education, one that values creativity, nurtures ability, and perhaps most importantly, instills the kind of task commitment that will carry students through both their academic careers and beyond. Remember that true giftedness is not just about what you can do, but about how far you're willing to go to achieve it. A Slice with Dice is a production of the Arkansas School for Mathematics, Sciences, and the Arts. I hope today's reflection sparked some thoughts for your own journey. If you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe, share, and leave a review. Let's keep learning and leading together. Until next time, keep striving for growth and excellence. Thanks for tuning in.